I struggled with bulimia for 6 years. Their eating disorder has gotten worse because of quarantine. Working on your mindset, working on your... I did have a turning point myself, and it was when it was my best friend's 21st birthday party. I couldn't control myself, and I had never told him before, but I knew that there was a way, and I was gonna carve the way. A diet is not the solution. You are probably restricting a food group. You have to put weight loss on the back burner if you want to heal your relationship with food. Hello, my friends. I wanted to hop on this video really quickly and talk about something based on a question I was asked on my Instagram by somebody who was wondering how I recovered from my eating disorder. And I know that I've touched on this in the past, and for any of you who don't know my story, I struggled with bulimia for 6 years, all throughout my high school years and even some college. It sabotaged the entirety of my volleyball career. It ruined my body, it ruined my gut. I was very insecure. I compared myself to everything that walked. I would have died to be anybody else. It really was the dictating factor for why I wanted to do what I do now, which is coaching people and helping people and being an advocate for young people in schools who are struggling with trauma that manifests into self-sabotaging and other forms of pain. So I wanted to touch on this question just because I know that, there's been quite a few people who have either spoken to me or that have been brought to my attention who, their eating disorder has gotten worse because of quarantine. And, things have been getting worse for them, and they're just not sure about what the steps to recovery are. Although I'm not a licensed practitioner of eating disorder recovery, don't take this as medical advice. Take this as my story and me sharing what worked for you and offering you some holistic, helpful options to working on your mindset, working on the physical part of nutrition and health and wellness and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. I also have another video that would be beneficial to you if you are in this boat or struggle with your relationship with food or body image, and it's titled When Your Eating Disorder Gets Worse on Quarantine, and a lot of the tips are pretty universal to those groups of people, so I'll link that above and down below. But for now, I just want to spend a couple of minutes answering this question. The turning point for me 2 years ago from February, that's when I started behaving in the actions of binging and purging. I also want to put a trigger warning in front of this in case any of these words are sensitive, so keep that in mind as well. So I did have a turning point myself, and it was when it was my best friend's 21st birthday party, and the next day I had gotten zero sleep that night, and I was just an absolute disaster. And I didn't decide that was the night that things were gonna just change for me in my brain, but we all go through such intense experiences sometimes, and sometimes they click a switch in our brain that goes, I can't do this anymore. I've officially hit rock bottom, and I felt like that's exactly where I was. I just ate everything in sight, and I remember trying to lay down when I was at my house the next day and just go to sleep and relax because I literally had gotten zero sleep. I was driving around the entire next day, but something in my brain, that animalistic part of your brain that takes over when it feels like something's taking over your body and like making you eat when you don't want to, it literally made me, it felt like, get my butt up, drive to the store, spend money on all sorts of food, come back and just eat it all. And I was so beyond exhausted that I don't know how I somehow managed to do all that, but I did it because I felt like I couldn't stop myself, and I felt like I couldn't control myself or that behavior, and I felt disgusting. And it was at that point that I called my boyfriend at the time, and I confessed to him what was going on. And I had never told him before. It's embarrassing. I always grew up feeling like having a weird relationship with food, like that's embarrassing. That's weird. Like I'm alone in this. I felt so alone all the time, and that was no exception. But something in me told me that I had to tell him and I needed support. And for anybody out there who is struggling, I hope sooner than later you reach out for support to somebody that you trust or somebody that you can get some pointers from. So I hope that this video can give you at least a couple of pointers or encourage you to go seek help anywhere else. So my camera's about to die, so I will go as fast as I can. But basically after that point and after going through that, I decided this is the time where I'm really going to figure out what it's like to be healthy. And this is the moment where I'm going to figure out what I need to do to get better. And I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what the outcome was. I knew I wanted to recover. Wasn't sure how that was going to happen. I didn't necessarily see the end goal, but I knew that there was a way, and I was going to carve the way. And a lot of people who are struggling with eating disorders, it's not that they don't want to heal. We don't want to inflict pain on ourselves, but we often don't know how. We often don't know the route, but there are answers out there, and it's going to take a lot of trial and error. It's going to take a lot of processing of your thoughts and working through negative emotions. And it's going to be understanding your body and nutrition and health. So the first thing that I really started to do is educate myself. I educated myself a lot, and it certainly led me down a rabbit hole of like some diets that I knew weren't good for me. I started learning that, oh, this diet's better than this diet. This diet's better than this diet. So I tried a lot of trial and error with intermittent fasting and dieting and carb cycling diets and stuff like that. One thing that I want to tell you is that when you're on your journey and you're educating yourself on health and wellness, a diet is not the solution. The solution is to heal your relationship with food. Don't think that you have to cut out any certain food group, unless of course there's a medical professional saying that this is not good for you, you have an allergic reaction or something. You know, there are always exceptions to every rule, but for generally speaking, we want to heal our relationship with food. So a diet is not going to help you, because a diet indicates that you are probably restricting a food group, and restricting a food group is not good for somebody who's not in the right mind frame. So I tried intermittent fasting, which wasn't good for me at all, because I started becoming obsessed with the time that I was gonna eat, and I started carb cycling, which made me literally sit there counting hazelnuts so that I would only eat 10 of them. That's not good. You have to put weight loss on the back burner if you want to heal your relationship with food. So although all of this knowledge led me to where I am today, understand that a diet is not what's gonna fix you, and the mindset work and taking care of your body through nutrition and health and wellness practices, that's what's gonna heal your relationship with food and ultimately lead you to the diet that works best for you. So just keep that in mind. So I educated myself a ton, tried a diet, failed all of it. I could have skipped all of that, but I didn't have a role model to look up to. I did all of this on my own, and I know that I could have saved myself a lot of pain had I sought out help. If I could just get over my insecurities and how sad and alone I felt. So I encourage you to find somebody that you can confide in or that you trust offering you information. Take it with a grain of salt and see what makes sense to you. What actually makes sense to you? If you're struggling with an eating disorder, does it make sense to go on a restrictive diet that doesn't allow you to eat a whole group of food? Think about it logically. Yes, some people that works out great. Again, there are exceptions to every rule, but does it make logical sense to find something that makes you restrict something if you're trying to make peace with food and find love with food? Because to me, that doesn't make all that much sense, but I didn't know that. So I'm here to tell you that right now. So what makes sense? Eating more greens, eating more fruits and veggies, right? Breath work, meditation, coping with negative emotions, drinking water, going on light walks, doing something that feels good to your body but not excessive. And when things become excessive, you're gonna need tools to help you with your negative mindset, right? So I started by educating myself, trial and error. I definitely suffered for a long time, and I did not need to put myself through all of that had I had some support or comfort. So I don't want it to take you 6 years of an eating disorder and then almost 3 years of being into the self and wellness journey to just get to where I am now. I know some people are struggling and have for longer. I know some people for less time, but I hope this can be of value to you. And I kind of want to leave the tip there just because I don't want to bombard you with a bunch of stuff in my videos. I want them to be very straightforward, 1 to 3 tips that you can take and begin to apply to your life immediately. So take what I've shared with you with a grain of salt. Go seek out knowledge, find inspiration. If you want me to make a separate video on who inspired me in the beginning and who inspires me now, I'm happy to do that for you. If you want more self-love and confidence tips and how to live your best life and really overcome your trauma, insecurities, etc., go to my Instagram at EdenGold_ and at the.foreverstudent, which is more based towards students overcoming some of the problems and struggles that we face growing up. That's for millennials, Gen Zs. We talk about depression, partying, how to be safe, stuff like that. So I hope that you can take that tip and do something with it as opposed to just, in one ear out the other. So I hope that you can hear me when I say this. I care about you. I support you in your journey to recovery, and please reach out on any of my platforms if you have any questions, and please consider subscribing to my channel as well. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video, and